Hello and welcome back to another tutorial on Power Pivot. This is Trisha Jagtiani, and in this tutorial I'm going to introduce you to another DAX function, and that is the filter function. Filter function is useful when you want to perform a SUMIF or a COUNTIF function in Power Pivot. So by now you would have understood that the filter function can be used to do a COUNTIF or a SUMIF function. While in this tutorial I'm not going to take you through the complete COUNTIF and the SUMIF. I'm going to show you how the filter function works. So let's begin. If you look at my data again, I'm going to use the same data that I have been using so that it becomes easier to understand. I have the customer details available, plus I have the sales data available here. Both datas have that order IDs available, and I have already added them to the data model and created a relation. Once I create a relationship in the data model, I can now start working on this data. I'm going to move on, directly jump to the Power Pivot window. What I need to understand is I want to perform a filter function. What does a filter function do? It will filter the data as per your requirement or give you the data as per the filtered information. So when I say that, when you're doing it in Excel, you actually go ahead and filter, which is also available in your Power Pivot. You can actually go ahead and filter the data and only get the information for that particular filtered data. That means you can only get, or only that data will be displayed on your Power Pivot screen. But this is not what we are going to do here. What I am trying to do is I need to do a calculation. Let's say a count of the number of rows that contain a particular data, or that contains a particular text, or it has a data which is more than a particular number. For example, let's say I am in my customer data ID or the customer detail page. I want to identify how many such sales that I have performed, okay, or how many such sales that I have performed here is, or what is the profit? Let's say profit. What is the profit that I have earned from the sales that is more, or the sale where the sale amount is more than 200? Or you can also pick up 500. 500 would be easier because there is very less number as such. So, or let's make it even more easier if that is difficult to understand. I'm trying to say that how many such rows are there where the sales is more than 500. So that means wherever the column or wherever the row is more than 500, it will automatically pick up that data and give you the count.
Congratulations on completing the business dashboard using Excel course. Ready to elevate your career? Join our postgraduate certificate in data science and AI and gain exclusive benefits like a complimentary Python programming bootcamp, 7+ case studies, dedicated student support, and access to our job opportunities portal. Don't miss out on this chance to transform your career. Invest in yourself today and join our program. Click on the link in the description to enroll now and take the next step in your career journey.
Now we know how that is done is by using the count rows. While I can do the count rows, but it is very, very important to understand how am I going to identify which one to perform. Now, if I do a count rows, I can give a table which needs to be counted, which is fine. I can easily do the number that I'm looking for. But what I'm really looking for is in the sale, it should be more than 500, which it doesn't give me that provision to put it in the count rows. So then I'm going to do is I'm going to use a filter function which will allow me to give more information as compared to just count rows. So once I do filter, you will see once I open the bracket, there are two arguments in the syntax where it says table and filter expression. That means which table you want to pick it from. So I can say the sales table itself. I'm doing the data in the sales table. Once I do that, I can put a comma and then I can say filter expression. Now, what is the filter expression? If I'm putting a sales, I have to be very, very sure that I'm picking it from the list so that we don't make any mistakes. Comma, in the filter expression, it is again going to be sales. But if from the sales, what data that I need to check? So I need to check the sales number, which is sales. Alright, so this is a sales table and this is a sales column. So it's a sales into the bracket sales is greater than 500. So the number has to be greater than 500. I will close the bracket for my filter and then I'll have to close the bracket for my count rows. What is happening here is, first it is asking for the table. Now which table I will have, I wasn't sure. I know this table, but I don't want to take the data for the full table. I want to filter out only the data where the sales is more than 500. So what I'm saying is sales is more than 500. I put it in the filter. So now the count rows table will only check for table where the rows are more than 500. I close the bracket and enter. Just look what happens now. It has created a measure for me and it is giving me 85 such rows. Now you might ask me, why did I create a measure? The reason is because I need a COUNTIF. COUNTIF means I need a data from the whole database and I want to summarize it into a small piece where I just need that data to be shown as one particular one information. I can do it in the columns, but that will not serve our purpose. But you can use the same data inside the column or same formula inside the column, that is adding the column or for adding the measure. Either ways it is going to work. Now this was about how you do it inside the same table where you're sitting. If you want to do it in another table, like if you want to create a measure inside your customer ID table, you can also do that. This time let's pick up a profit. I'm going to create a measure, so I'm just going to, so as I have already mentioned in my previous tutorials, when you want to add a column, you do it under the add column option. But if you want to create a measure, you directly go on to the blank space which is at the bottom and start adding the measures. When you're adding the measures, you start with an equal to sign, or you can also give the measure name if you have to. So my measure name, I can give it as a total, no, so I can say profit more than 100. I'm not sure. I'm just giving you a hypothetical data here. So I'm just going to say it's equal to, now this is my measure, okay? So I'm going to say profit more than 100. I want to now check the same data that I had done. I'm going to do a count rows. So how many such rows are available where the profit is more than 100? What will it give me? It will definitely give me the information as to where the profit is more than 100. So it is going to give me how many such columns are there. Sorry, rows are there. So I'm going to use filter here. Open the bracket. Again, the table. So this time my table is going to change, or not change really, but I am in this different table and I am performing it with the table which is next to it, which is not, I'm not sitting in the same table. I'm doing it from or picking it from a separate table. But why am I able to see those? Because I have created a relationship between the two. Sales and then a comma. Now filter expression. This time I have to be careful. I cannot put the filter expression as sales. This time I'll take profit. I close the bracket for my again count rows. So you will see that count rows is asking for the table. This filter will give you give it the table that it wants to check. Close the bracket. So this table that it has identified by the filter data, that will be counted by using the count rows function. So now you can see that it is giving you the 789 as a number. This many rows has the profit as more than 100. So this was very, very simple to understand, because it was the filter data is very useful when you want to create a measure, but it can also be used, like I said, for the calculated columns. As you are already aware, this is called as a calculated column. I'm not going to go deep into that, but yes, the calculated column and your CUDA, this is your measure. So what we have done is we have created a measure. Now if I want to go back and check on the pivot table, the measures should be available in the pivot table, which you have seen in the previous tutorials also, that it automatically gets picked up in the measures as in the table as well. So now if I pick up here and put it, you will see that it is giving me the number that it should. I can pick up the order ID and get the number also. Now it all depends on what exactly you're looking to do. But of course with the order ID it is giving you 1111 because the order ID is all unique. So that is not something that you might want to check it with the customer name. So that can also be done if you are looking for. But basically what we are trying to do here is we are trying to identify the data here. Now the problem is we have created a relationship, but it is one to many from the sales, from the customer ID to the sales, and that's the reason it is not working. But you have seen other things that you can do with this data. You have seen in my previous tutorials also how you can actually do the one to many and many to one, and how do you create the relationship accordingly. But yes, so this is something that you can do with your data when it comes to using the filters. So filters are very, very useful when you want to do a COUNTIF or the SUMIF function. We will learn the COUNTIF and the SUMIF function in the following tutorials. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching.